Aloha there, and we are back under what is it? The economy of India. There's a lot of things we covered, but we can cover even more. So, yeah. Alrighty. Now, under the economy, I didn't finish all of this. We actually gone through all industries. Now, where should I leave off? In 2011, India was the world's 10th largest importer and the ninth largest exporter. Major exports include petroleum products, textile goods, jewelry, software, engineering goods, chemicals, and manufactured leather goods. 7 stuff. And yeah, I already covered this. Alrighty. India's nominal GDP per capita increased steadily from $308 in 1991. Yeah, it increased as much to US 2,313 by 2022. Asian development countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and expect to remain so in the near future. So it still has much to grow. Now, according to the 2011 PricewaterhouseCoopers (PwC) report, India's GDP at purchasing power parity could overtake the United States by 2045. Yep. The World Bank cautions that for India to achieve its economic potential, it must continue to focus on public sector reform, transport infrastructure, agricultural development, removal of labor regulations, education, energy scrutiny, and public health and nutrition. 10 things. Now, according to where should I go with things? According to the Worldwide Cost of Living Report 2017 released by the Economist Intelligence Unit (EIU), which was created by comparing more than 500 individual prices across 160 products and services, 4 of the cheapest cities were in India: Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, and New Delhi. 3rd, 5th, 8th. I don't know. Industries. India's telecommunication industry is the 2nd largest in the world, with over 1 billion subscribers. Right. Huh. Yeah, looks like I'm thinking that this mask, like the other one, is falling in disarray, but we don't know. So far, I don't know. We'll see, though. After the 3rd quarter of 2017, India surpassed the US to become the 2nd largest smartphone market in the world after China. So India is growing not just with a bunch of industries, but specifically telecommunications. The Indian automotive industry, the world's 2nd fastest growing, increased domestic sales by 26% during 2009 through 2010. That's another industry that's going to be a thing. And the Indian IT industry employed 2.8 billion professionals, generate revenues close to equaling 7.5 of Indian GDP and contributed to 26% of India's merchandising exports. Alrighty, and talks about global vaccines, increase revenues. Alrighty. Net energy is capability to generate electric power is 300 gigawatts, of which 42 gigawatts is renewable. The country's usage of coal is a major cause of greenhouse gas emissions by India, but its renewable energy is competing strongly. India emits about 7% of global greenhouse gas emissions. This equates to about 2.5 tons of carbon dioxide per person per year. Increased access to electricity and clean cooking and liquefied petroleum gas have been priorities for energy in India. Now let's get to the socioeconomic. The good old socioeconomic factors. It's this line. Yeah, bear with me. Gotta fix up my face. My face is dragging. I could cover it like that, but nah. This thing is a bit loose, like a scarf. Alrighty. Let me actually look at the pictures that I passed through. For industries, a tea garden in Sikkim, India, the world's second largest producer of tea, is the nation of 1 billion tea drinkers who consume 70% of India's tea output. You could even see my nose. Wow. Ugh. Let me readjust this. Oh, I think it's also this too. Okay. Yep, I think that fixes it. What is it? When it comes to streaming and all that sort, especially if in, well, Jesus had a migraine, it can be daunting, especially with doing the little things, making sure the little things go according. Well, or not. Oh yeah, also the camera didn't really freak out much when I was drinking that big bowl of water, but whenever I move in a slight different direction, it starts to fester. I see how it is. You pissed. So yeah, that's one of the pictures. There's this one, a Panona. Bangalore, the century of India's software development economy in the 1980s, when the first multinational corporation began to set up centuries in India. They chose Bangalore because of the large pool of skilled graduates in the area, in turn due to the many science and engineering colleges in the surrounding region. So yeah, there's many reasons why a bunch of these cities have the prestige as every other city. Because they're a host of different places. I mean, I'm thinking that Bangalore would be very similar to San Francisco in Silicon Valley and the merging IT, culture, and demographic people living there, like their own micro society. Now, for under energy, no one talks about this, and not much. No fancy pictures, just energy. And also a main article about energy in India, which, yeah, I realized that looking through all these articles that they can be quite hefty, really quite hefty. Go over. Alrighty. Despite economic growth during recent decades, India continues to face socioeconomic challenges. In 2006, India contained the largest number of people living below the World Bank's international poverty line of US $1.25 per day. Yeah, proportions to 2005, 2011, then going on to 2015. The midday meal scheme attempts to lower these rates, which, yeah, that's a long article. A 2018 Walk Free Foundation reports estimated that nearly 8 million people in India were living in different forms of modern slavery, such as bonded labor, child labor, human trafficking, forced begging, among others. So it's more than just 4 of those. Which, yeah, it just showed the desperation in that place. Since 1991, economic inequality between India's states had consistently grown. Corruption in India, corruption percentage index. Okay, a lot of things. India ranked 78th out of the 180 countries in 2018 with a score of 41 out of 100, an improvement from 85th in 2014. So it's stopping some corruption. So, at least it's not that corrupt as before, but it still needs a lot to go through. Demographics, languages, and religion. Oh yeah, I can look through the picture. Yay. Health workers about to begin another day of immunization against infectious diseases in 2006, 8 years later, and 3 years after India's last case of polio. The World Health Organization declares India to be polio free. And all these people made that happen. That's nice. Demographics, languages, and religion. With one. Man, I let's go through it. So, yeah, 1,210, 1,200,000,000, 210,000,000, 1,093, 193,422 residents reported in 2011 professional census report. India is the world's second most populous country. Its population grew by 17.64 from 2001 to 2011, compared to 21.54 growth in the previous decade, 1991 through 2001. So it has grown a lot. Then it talks about other statistics relating to females, the medium, average stuff. Okay, medical advances made in the last 50 years, as well as increasing agricultural productivity brought about the Green Revolution, have caused India's population to grow rapidly. The average life expectancy in India is at 70 years, 7.1.5 years for women, 68.7 years for men. There are around 93 physicians per 100,000 people. Migration from rural to urban areas have been an important dynamic in India's recent history. The number of people living in urban areas grew by 31.2%. Global urbanization increased further from 27.81 in the 2001 census. Alrighty. The slowdown of the overall population growth rate was due to the sharp decline in growth rate in rural areas since 1991. Alrighty. 53 million plus urban agglomerations in India, among them Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Ahmedabad. In decreasing order by population, the literacy rate in 2011 was 7.4. Oh, yeah. A lot more statistics. Let me go through that. A lot of things going on. India is the of the two major language families, Indo-Aryan, spoken by about 74% of the population, and Dravidian, spoken by 24% of the population. Other languages spoken in India come from the Austroasiatic and Sino-Tibetan language families. India has no national language. Hindi, with the largest number of speakers, is the official language of the government. English is used extensively in business administration and has the status of a subsidiary official language. It is important in education, especially as a medium of higher education. Each state and union territory has one or more official languages. The Constitution recognizes, in particular, 22 scheduled languages. And quote to the 2011 census reported religion in India with the largest number of followers was Hinduism, 79.8% of the population, followed by Islam, 14.24%. The remaining were Christianity, 2.30%, Sikhism, 1.72%, Buddhism, 0.70%, Jainism, 0.36%, and others, 0.9%. India has the third largest Muslim population, the largest for a non-Muslim majority country. And looking through all these pictures, the interior of San Tome Balstukli, Chendan, Tamil Nadu, Christianity is believed to have been introduced to India by the late 2nd century by Syriatic-speaking Christians. And then the India by language, the language families of South Asia. So these are with the families. Tibetan Burman is nearby the Tibetan lands and territories here. Indo-Aryan, more inland. Iranian, more into what is now modern day Afghanistan and Pakistan. And, some of the things like Dravidian languages being, pretty much down the southern point of India to even parts of Sri Lanka. So, a lot of languages. A lot of languages, bro. Culture. India cultural history spans more than 4,500 years. During the Vedic period, 17,000 BCE and 500 BCE, the foundation of Hindu philosophy, mythology, theology, and literacy were laid, and many beliefs and practices which still exist today, such as Dharma, Kamana, Yoga, and Moksha, was established. India is notable for its religious diversity, with Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Islam, Christianity, and Jainism among the nation's major religions. Their predominant religion, Hinduism, have been shaped by various historical schools of thought, including those of the Upanishads, the Yoga Sutras, the Bhakti movement, and by Buddhist philosophy. A Sikh pilgrim at the Harmandir Sahib, or Global Temple, in Amritsar, Punjab. And that's pretty dope. He has a skin line, not tanned. He pretty much is bathing, glowing in the sun, getting a nice shower. It's nice. It looks really beautiful, especially the building. Alrighty, visual art. Let's see how much I have. Okay, well, I don't think I have enough to finish. India. Oh yeah, I'm gonna slow this down because bear with me. I am pacing myself for my own good. Visual art. India has a very ancient tradition of art, which has exchanged many influences with the rest of Eurasia, especially in the first millennium, when Buddhist art spread with Hindu religions to Central, East, and Southeast Asia. The last also greatly influenced by Hindu art. Thousands of seals from the Indus Valley civilization of the 3rd millennium BCE have been found, usually carved with animals, but a few with human figures. The Pashapti seal excavated in Mohenjo-daro, Pakistan, in 1928 through 1929 is the best known. After this, there is a long period with virtually nothing surviving. Almost all surviving ancient Indian art thereafter is a various form of religious sculpture in durable materials or coins. There was probably originally far more in wood, which is lost in North India. Modern art is the first imperial movement? Because I'm thinking of like imperialism. So this imperial movement, when it comes to the art movement, I'm like thinking like, so they conquer people's art? Do they take other art forms and just mush together as one entity, like an empire? In the first millennium CE, Buddhist art spread with Indian religions to Central, East, and Southeast Asia. The last also greatly influenced by Hindu art. Over the following centuries, a distinctly Indian style of sculpting the human figure developed, with less interest in articulating precious anatomy than ancient Greek sculpture by showing smoothly flowing forms expressing pranama, breath, or life force. This is often complicated by the needs to give figures multiple arms or heads and represent different genders on the left and right of figures, as with the are the Hashnavare form of Shiva and Parvati. Alright, most of the early sculpture, large sculpture in Buddhist, either excavated, excavated. Wow, I can actually pronounce this right now. I got the right page. Excavated from Buddhist stupas such as Sachi, Sarnath, and Amathati, or is rock cut reliefs at sites such as Anjanta, Karla, and Alora. Hindi and Jain sites appear rather later, and despite of this complex mixture of religious traditions, generally the prevailing artistic style at any time and place have been shared by major religious groups, and sculptures probably usually served all communities. So all this art is mixed together with the cultures, even through different times and span times. Now, what is it? Gupta art at the peak 300 CE through 500 CE is often regarded as the classical period, whose influence lingered for many centuries after. It saw a new dominance of Hindu sculpture across the north has become, but in the south, under the Pahlavi and Kauri dynasties, the large bronzes from Chiba as Narva have become an iconic symbol of India. Now, I'm looking through there. It talks about the cave sculpting, stuff like that. The Persian-derived open painting. Yeah. The style spread in Hindu courts, especially among the supposed to develop a variety of styles, with the smaller counts often the most innovative. Okay, so if I put my elbow here, it starts to freak out. Sort of. Well, this is good. As a market developed among European residents, it was supplied by company painting by Indian artists that could spur Western influence. In the 19th century, cheap cowhide paintings of gods and everyday life done on paper were urban folk art from Calcutta, which later saw the Bengal School of Art, reflecting the art colleges founded by the British, the first movement in modern India painting. Yeah, you pretty much have these listed here and such. Bushara Yakshi Buddhist reliefs from Maurya 2nd century, from Gupta Terracotta relief Krishna killing the horse demon Keshi in 5th century. Elephant caves triple bust of Shiva 18 feet, and Chola bronze of Shiva as Natharaja, Lord of the Dance, Tamil Nadu 10th and 11th century. And the Chakra received Prince campaign Russia and the Krusha flute in the memory and country painting 1775 through 1785. And also knowing that this is the time when the American Revolution happened, and this is what the art was like compared to old colonial art in the US back in those times. Alrighty. I'm gonna skim through these because, yeah, we're still all the way here, and it's been a while since we just switched to a different topic. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, architecture. Much of the Indian architecture included the Taj Mahal. Vastu Shasta, science of construction. Lumuna Marine. Hindu and Islamic architecture, that's what it can be described as. The Taj Mahal from across the Yamuna River, showing two Ali red sandstone buildings, a mosque on the right west of the Jawa response, thought have been built for architectural balance. Well, there's many reasons why. Things are created in a particular way. Literature, literature composed from 400 BC and 400 CE was the Sanskrit language. Alright, all these other languages are done literature. This period was characterized by very wide spectrum of thought and expression. The 19th century Indian writers took a interest in social questions and psychological deceptions. The 20th century was influenced by the works of a Bengal poet who was recipient of the Nobel Prize in Literature. So they all got influenced by this person in his poetry, his literacy and stuff. So we're short form and painter, especially when it comes to modern things that people in India have seen, especially when it comes to representation. Now, performing arts and media. Indian music ranges from over various traditional regional styles. Classical music incorporates two genres and there are various folk offshoots, northern Hindustani and southern Carnatic schools, different styles. Indian dance also features diverse folk and classical forms. Yeah, Jumala, Chada, West Bengal. A lot of music and dance is coming from one country because of how big diverse it is. Theater in India melds music, dance, and provides on written dialogue. The Indian film industry produced the world's most watched cinema. Established regional cinema tradition exists in all these languages. Yeah, the Hindu language film industry, Bollywood is the largest sector, representing 43% of the box office revenue. Yeah, followed by Bengal and Tamil film industries represents 36 combined. Television progressing began the Indians 1959, staying monopoly to 1990s. Today, television is most prominent. And yeah, cables, mass media, press, radio, internet. Shoot, that's a lot. 350 million, 156 million, and 37 million for press, radio, and internet. Damn. But, okay. We're under society and looking at the time. Well, anywho.